The following story is a alleged Bigfoot encounter in Washington from 1993 in Snohomish County, when Washington's in the United States, for those who don't know. The witness claims to have been a firefighter with wildland fighting crew with the U.S. Forest Service, and at the time he was assigned to a place called Mount Baker Snoqualmie, I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong, National Forest. On July 22nd of that year, the area was plagued by numerous lightning strikes, and obviously some of those were causing wildfires. And so the witness and his crew were called into action. They broke off into two groups in order to determine what areas were hit. And it was not long before he saw the telltale smoke of a fire in the Beckler River Road area. He and his partner geared up and began to climb a very rugged, steep, and rocky terrain, which was so choked with brush that it took them 3 hours just to navigate it and finally reach the fire. They fought the blaze for a further 2 hours and managed to extinguish it, after which they decided to take a different route back down the mountainside. As they had made their way slowly down the treacherous terrain, the witness says that his partner, Joe, dropped his shovel and sent it careening down the mountain around 100 feet on a slope to land on a rocky outcropping. The witness was made to go retrieve it. Well, I mean, you can't just leave it there, can you? It's probably an expensive shovel. And on his way down, he noticed that there was a cave there. A nearby cave was partially hidden by the brush and the trees. And he said there was an odoriferous stench. So, naturally, he shone his flashlight within the cave, but it was too dark to really gauge the size and see where it went or if anything was in there. But the wall of stench just kind of, kept him from going any closer. And it was about this time that he was overcome by an overall eerie feeling, as he describes it. For reasons he could not quite figure out, it was then that he would have a truly bizarre experience, of which he says, and this is a quote, "I yelled up to Joe that I found a cave and it really stank. He seemed to just want to keep heading back to the truck, so we continued down the path that we were on before. I climbed down for the shovel, and I was looking down the mountain to see how I was going to get down off the ledge and connect with the trail that we were on before. As I was standing there, I saw at the corner of my eye a bowling ball-sized boulder came flying over my head and crashed and rolled into a ravine about 10 or 15 yards downhill from me. I yelled back up to Joe, 'Did you throw that?' When he said no, I realized that he had already walked away from where he had been before and was now way to the left of my location. It was at that moment that I realized that the rock could not have been thrown by him, nor did it roll down the hill, because I would have heard it. I would have heard it crashing. I looked back uphill from where the rock had come from just in time to see another rock coming from above me. The second rock hit the ground more to the left and below me. I was visually scanning the area where the rock had come from when I heard movement in the bush. I crouched down and watched all the area. I then saw a dark, very hairy figure walking upright along the side of the mountain away from me. It was always partially obscured by the brush and trees, so I couldn't really tell the color or the exact height, but I would have to guess around 7 to 9 feet tall. I watched it for a few seconds and then yelled to Joe, 'I see it.' I said, 'I think it's a Bigfoot.' As soon as I yelled that, I looked back up, and it was dead still and silent. I felt like it stopped and hid when I yelled because I didn't see or hear anything else. At this point, I really just want to get out of there, so I side-hilled over to Joe, and we quickly descended back to our vehicle. We were both very freaked out and talked about it all the way back to the ranger station, where we reported the incident to our wildlife biologist and other officials at the ranger district. I was later contacted by someone at the University of Washington who wanted to interview me and have me take him to the site. I moved from the area shortly afterwards, and I never took him there, which is why I'm submitting this report. I want people to know my story. Now, one thing that I want to add to this is, so basically what happened is this man found Bigfoot's home, and then said it stunk, and then snooped around inside, and then wonders why he got a boulder thrown at him. You can't just call a man's house down to the lowest and expect him not to do something about it. Anyways, on a more serious note, it seems that a lot of these cases, especially ones where there's like a forest fire involved, and I've read a couple of these now, where it seems that the Bigfoot is kind of almost disinterested with the forest fire. I know that it's like a belief in some Aboriginal tribes that a Bigfoot can teleport or appear invisible and all that stuff, and there's like, I've even read things like theories saying that there's like certain points on Earth where there's like a lot of Bigfoot sightings, where that's like an area where there's like a lot of magic and teleportation, all that stuff. Really, it's quite a bit of a rabbit hole just to find this story, really. And this is one of the more down to earth ones where you can really believe that something might have happened, especially like he probably doesn't have any reason to lie about this. And I understand, like, in a situation where you're doing this kind of thing, like a firefighter. I can't talk today. When you're a firefighter, you probably see a lot of things that are a little weird. Some of them you don't know if it's your mind playing tricks on you. Some of them you don't know if you're just misinterpreting something because of stress or whatever. But again, in this situation, he did have a boulder thrown at him, which I don't really think he would have imagined that. So I think this is one of the more down to earth and believable ones that I've heard, because I've seen some of them where, like, they're really off the wall. Like, it's like a claim that Bigfoot is like actually pets from aliens, and they just drop them off here whenever in certain areas, like a dog park kind of thing. Yeah, I think that, well, I shouldn't say I think. I'm not 100% sold on Bigfoot, but I've seen some things in my own life where I can kind of understand. And if Bigfoot is real, then we'll probably find him eventually, because he obviously doesn't want to be found if he's this good at hiding. And in some cases, when they catch him on video, even then, it's just still kind of obscured and like kind of far off. You never really see anything like super, super clear about Bigfoot, and if you do, it's obviously with like a camera that was probably, has a potato for a lens, because they're all just awful quality. So hopefully, in one way, I think it'd be cool to find Bigfoot and like prove his existence, but in the other way, I know how humans are, and they probably hunt it for sport, and it's really double-edged sword and kind of a bad time for everybody involved there, you know what I mean? Anyways, I've rambled on long enough. If you like the video and you want to see videos similar to this one, where I talk about missing 411 cases, or I talk about paranormal things or supernatural things, then just like and subscribe and comment if you want to. Doesn't matter, but it would be cool if you subscribed. So think about it and have a good night. See ya.